Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of Still Waters by Viveca Sten. Translated by Marlene Delargy. Performed by Angela Dawe. For my brave mother. Prologue. Everything was completely still and peaceful as only winter can be, when the archipelago belongs to those who live there and the raucous summer visitors have not yet taken over the islands. The water was dark and shining, the cold of winter lying heavily on the surface. Odd patches of snow rested on the rocks. A few mergansers stood out like dots against the sky, and the sun was low on the horizon.
"Help me!"
he yelled.
"Help me, for God's sake!"
Someone threw a tangle of rope out to him, and he rushed to loop it around his body in the ice-cold water.
"Pull me up,"
he said, panting as he grasped the side of the boat with fingers that had already begun to stiffen from the cold. When the anchor attached to the rope was thrown over the rail, he seemed more confused than anything, as if he didn't understand that its weight would soon drag him to the bottom. That he only had a few seconds left to live before his body followed the heavy lump of iron. His hand breaking the surface of the water, tangled in the abandoned fishing net, was the last visible thing. The waters closed over it with an almost imperceptible sigh. Then there was only the sound of the engine as the boat turned to make its way back to the harbor. Monday, the first week. Chapter 1.
"Here, Pixie, come here!"
The man gazed irritably at the dachshund as she ran down the beach. She had been cooped up on the boat for several days. He really should have kept her on the leash. Dogs were not allowed to run loose in the summer on Sandhamn, a small island in the Stockholm archipelago, but he didn't have the heart to observe the rule when the little dog was so happy to run free. Besides, there was hardly anybody in sight so early in the morning. Those living in the few houses along the shoreline had hardly woken up. The only sound came from the screaming gulls. The air was fresh and clear. The overnight rain had given everything a newly washed feel, and the sun was already warm, promising another glorious day. The sand was tightly packed and pleasant to walk on. The low-growing pines gave way to ryegrass and wormwood, mixed with clusters of yellow flowers. Tangled heaps of seaweed had washed up at the water's edge, and over toward Falkenshire a single yacht could be seen traveling east. Where had that damn dog gone? He followed her, barking. Pixie was
Sample complete. Ready to continue?